Jacinda makes her move, and Willow fires back with everything she has. Oh, darlings, just when you thought Willow's situation could not possibly get more complicated, just when it seemed like she might finally have a moment to breathe and think and figure out her next step, someone walked into her orbit and did something that is going to accelerate everything to a speed that nobody is fully prepared for. Jacinda planted pills. And Willow, who has demonstrated repeatedly and at considerable personal cost that she does not take threats quietly, is already planning her response. Let us lay out what happened and why it matters so much. Jacinda saw an opportunity. She loves Michael genuinely, that is not in question. And watching him fight for his children against a woman who has done genuinely terrible things created a particular kind of desperation in her. She thought she was helping. She thought a well-placed baggie of pills could tip the scales in Michael's favor and give him the ammunition he needed for custody. What she did not fully account for was Willow. Because Willow is not a woman who stumbles across something suspicious and files it away for later. She is a woman who takes inventory of every threat in her immediate environment and begins calculating her response before the threat has fully revealed itself. The moment Willow figures out what Jacinda did, and she will figure it out because Willow is sharp in the particular way that people who have been managing secrets become sharp, something is going to be set in motion that Jacinda is not going to be able to control. And here is where the storyline takes a genuinely alarming turn. The weekly preview is showing us Michael holding pills. A split screen with Willow on one side and Jacinda on the other. Nina demanding to know what Willow did. Michael demanding to know what Jacinda did. The same pills in the center of all of it. The theory that is forming around this evidence is chilling in its logic. What if Willow is not simply reacting to Jacinda's frame job? What if she is taking it and turning it into something far more elaborate? What if she plants those same pills or similar ones on Jacinda in a way that frames Jacinda and Michael together? What if she creates documentation, a photo, a planted camera moment, that captures Michael appearing to be in possession of drugs connected to his girlfriend? Willow knows that sole custody requires evidence. She knows that a judge seeing a parent in possession of illegal substances alongside someone with an irregular professional history is going to weigh that heavily. And she has been studying the playbook of Port Charles schemers long enough to know exactly how to construct something that looks convincing. This would not be the first time the city watched someone build an elaborate false case against a target. The mechanics of it are painful and familiar. But Willow doing it, Willow who was positioned for so long as the moral center of her corner of this canvas, is the kind of fall that is going to resonate through every relationship she has. And Jacinda, who started all of this trying to help the man she loves, may end up in a situation far worse than what she intended to create for someone else. Could Jacinda pay the ultimate price? And how far will Willow go? Now, darlings, we have to talk about the possibility that has been building in the background of this week's spoilers, because the pattern of Willow's behavior over the past several months, the escalating nature of her responses to threats, and the particular rage that is going to be fueled by Jacinda's pill scheme all point toward a confrontation that nobody is going to walk away from unchanged. We have watched Willow shoot Drew twice. We have watched her keep him chemically imprisoned for months. We have watched her threaten his life multiple times and nearly follow through on that threat. We have watched her contemplate and nearly execute a drowning murder at a Coeur d'Alene lake. This is not a woman who responds to threats with measured and proportional force. This is a woman who, when pushed to her absolute limit, responds with whatever is available and worries about the consequences later.
Jacinda is pushing her, right now.
With a pill scheme that Willow is already spinning into something much larger and more dangerous than Jacinda intended. And the question that spoilers are asking very directly this week is whether Jacinda survives the response she has set in motion. Willow losing control entirely is not a theoretical concern. It is the established pattern. And a confrontation between these two women at exactly the moment when Willow's legal exposure is at maximum, when her custody battle is at its most critical, when her entire world is most at risk, that is the worst possible combination of circumstances for Jacinda to be standing in the middle of. If Willow goes too far, if the confrontation between them turns fatal, the aftermath is entirely predictable based on what we have seen. A frantic call to Nina. Nina calling Brennan. Two people who have already asked Jack to cover up multiple terrible things, asking him to cover up the worst one yet. Brennan has grown to care about Nina genuinely. He feels indebted to her for saving his life at Turning Woods. He has complicated feelings about this arrangement, but has shown repeatedly that his loyalty to Nina overrides the part of him that knows better. And so the question becomes not just whether he will help, but how many times Port Charles can sustain this particular pattern before something breaks in a way that cannot be managed. At some point, the chain of cover-ups becomes its own liability. Every person who knows becomes another thread that someone can pull. And Sidwell's trial is still coming, the venue where the full scope of what Willow has been doing is going to be laid out for a jury. Jacinda may not have understood who she was provoking when she planted those pills. But darlings, she is about to find out what Willow's fall means for Port Charles, and who survives the wreckage. And now, darlings, let us look at the full arc of where this is all heading, because Willow Kane's story this summer has been one of the most extraordinary villain descents this show has constructed in years. And we are approaching the moment when all of it arrives at once. Think about who Willow was when she first came to this canvas. A sweet, caring woman who was genuinely trying to do right by the children in her life. A person who made choices driven by love and protection rather than calculation and self-interest. She was not perfect. No one on this show is, but she was identifiably good in a way that made her someone people wanted to root for. And now look at who she has become. Someone who shot her husband twice in the back. Someone who kept a man chemically imprisoned for months. Someone who has contemplated and nearly committed murder multiple times this summer alone. Someone who is now potentially building an elaborate drug frame to destroy the man who fathered her children and the woman he loves. The distance between those two versions of Willow is staggering. And the show has been deliberate about building it, showing us each step, each choice that pushed her a little further past a line she told herself she would not cross until the lines themselves disappeared. The custody battle is the engine of all of it.
She wants those children.
She needs to keep them. And every terrifying thing she has done this summer traces back to that central fear that she is going to lose the most important things in her life, and there is nothing she will not do to prevent it. But the children watching all of this unfold, Wiley, Amelia, Scout in adjacent orbit, they are not being protected by what Willow is doing. They are being put at risk by it. Every cover-up, every frame job, every scheme that requires Jack Brennan's assistance and Nina's silence, all of it is one thread pull away from collapsing and taking everyone around it down. Drew is out of that house and already threatening everything the Quartermaines own. Sidwell's trial is coming with witnesses who know things Willow cannot control. Michael is going to discover what Jacinda did and be furious, but he is also going to discover what Willow did in response, and that is going to be even worse. And somewhere in the middle of all of this, Nina is going to reach the point where she has to decide whether protecting Willow is worth everything it is costing everyone around her. Serena is arriving. Michael's attention is shifting. Jacinda's time in Port Charles is ending one way or another. And Willow, the woman who started this summer as someone the audience was conflicted about, has become something unmistakable. She has become the villain. Fully.
Completely.
Without the qualifiers and the justifications that made her choices feel complicated at the beginning. And Port Charles is not going to let that stand. Whatever the fall looks like when it comes, and it is coming, the summer has been building to it, it is going to be one of the most cathartic and complicated things this show delivers. Because we have been watching this woman choose wrong over and over again, and the reckoning that waits at the end of all those choices is going to be as big as the crimes themselves. Port Charles is at its absolute most electric right now, darlings. Curtis in a courtroom with Portia, holding the truth that could set him free. Jacinda about to face the consequences of provoking someone who does not respond gently to provocation. And Willow spinning something that started as a reactive plot into a scheme that could take down Michael, free her children, and leave one more person needing someone to cover up what she has done.